So we have seen the design of clutches already. So clutches may be of plate type or cone type. So in plate type, in order to increase the power transmitting capacity, you may have single plate clutch or multi plate clutches. And in order to have the less effort from the operator side, so we have another variety called cone clutches. So where the axial force is not normal to the friction surface. So it is at an inclined angle so that it is enough for the operator to apply minimum load. Okay, so that is what we have seen in the design of clutches. And under the design of brakes, so we have seen block brakes, band brakes, and internal expanding shoe brakes or internal expanding brakes. Okay, so in that series, first we saw the design of single block brake, where we have a rotating drum and a block is going to arrest the rotation by means of applying force at one end of the since we can have more power transmission capacity only by way of increasing the frictional contact. Okay, so in multi-plate clutch, we are increasing the friction surface contacts by increasing the number of plates. So here also, the frictional contact is increased by means of increasing the number of blocks. Okay, since here we have the space constraints, so you can only add two blocks on a rotating drum. Okay, so that is what we are going to see now. So here you have a double block brake. Okay, so here block is called as a su also. Okay, and the problem is shown in the figure as well as it is given in the text as well. Okay, you have a double block brake, so as shown in the figure. So here this is one block and this is another block. This is the first block, this is the second block, and it is capable of absorbing a torque of 1400 newton meter. So this brake is capable of absorbing 1400 newton meter. Okay, and the diameter of the brake drum is 350 mm. So this is the diameter from here to here. It is 350 mm, and the angle of contact for each shoe is 100 degree. So this is the portion where the blocks and drums are having contact with each other. So this block is having an angle of 100 degree. Similarly, this block is having an angle of 100 degree. So here one way of increasing the frictional contact or frictional forces can be increased by increasing the angle. So if you reduce this angle, frictional contact surface area will be reduced so that it will be transferring very low torque. Okay, so in order to increase the torque transmitting capacity, you may increase the angle of contact, and the coefficient of friction between the brake drum and the lining is zero point 0.4. Okay, so then what you need to find is the spring force that is necessary to set the brake. Okay, so assume that here you are having a spring connected with each other to set the brake in place. Okay, and the width of the brake shoes, so here you are seeing in the normal direction. So in a plane, the brake shoe will be like this. So this is the width of the brake shoe width. Okay, that you need to find, and for finding that, they are giving you the bearing pressure on the lining is to not exceed zero point 0.3 Newton per mm square. So this is also given. Okay, so here you need to find the spring force as well as the width of the brake shoe. Okay, so this is also solved by simply taking moment about a fulcrum. Okay, so here this is the fixed point of your brake assembly. Here you have a first fulcrum, the second fulcrum, this is the first lever, and this is the second lever. So each fulcrum is located at 40 mm distance from the axis of that drum. Okay, or from the axis of your brake assembly. Okay, and the distance from fulcrum to the center point is 200. From this force applying point is 250. 250. Okay, and this distance is tangential force acting on the say side 2 is ft2, on the side 1 it is ft1. So here you may see that for one block, one lever, the drum will be having clockwise rotation. For another one it will be anti-clockwise. Okay, so no, not clockwise and anti-clockwise. So the tangential force 2 will be acting in this direction. Okay, so let us have this one. So somewhere side 1 you have O1 as a fulcrum on FT1 as your tangential force acting on the circumference of your brake drum, where the brake shoes and drums are having contact with each other. Similarly, you have reaction force acting on the side 1 as well as on the side 2. Okay, so on side 1. So this is side 1 and this is side 2. So here FT2 is the tangential force on the side too. Similarly, R and 2 is the normal force. As usual, you must look at the given data. Okay, so for finding out the values given, so you look for your the first numerical value is 1400 Newton meter, and the second one is 100 degree, and the next value is zero point 0.4. The next Newton meter, so that is nothing but braking torque. So that is denoted as a TB, and the diameter of the brake drum is denoted R is half of that, so there will be 175 mm, and the angle is 100 degree. So in radian, தம்பி எதுலேருந்து கட் ஆச்சுன்னு தெரியல. நான் பாட்டுக்கு எடுத்துகிட்டு இருந்திருக்கேன். இப்போ உள்ள வந்து பார்த்தா தான் கட் ஆயிருக்கு. ஓகே. ஸோ let me repeat it in a quick way. Okay. So this is your double block brake shoe, and you are having blocks on the two sides of the drum. So right hand side and left hand side. The notations are like this: S is the spring force, Ft is the tangential force, Rn is the normal force. And right hand side it is denoted in terms of 1, and left hand side it is in terms of 2. Okay. So here you need to find the spring force, yes, as well as the width of the brake shoe. Okay. And here to find the spring force, yes, you have to take a moment about say O1, similarly O2. Okay. So to take moment about O1, you need to draw a free body diagram. So let us have this as the lever. So this is the S, and this is the normal reaction or N2, and you here you have the frictional sorry tangential force Ft2. Okay. So and sorry, these are all 1. So right hand side is 1. So let us have it as a O1. And for taking moment about O1, so you just multiply S into this distance. So that is nothing but 450. So the Rn1 and Ft1 will make a clockwise movement. So this will make a clockwise movement. Rn1 and Ft1 will be clockwise movement, and S will be anti-clockwise movement. Okay. So that is why S is put on the left side. These two terms are put on the right side. Okay. So R1 and into 200 is the R1 into this distance 200, and Ft1 is the tangential force So 75 minus 40, so which I told already. So in terms of yes, Ft1 is the 0.776 yes. Okay. And uh, now you take moment about O2. So for that you need to draw another free body diagram. So here the lever is on the left side, and you have S acting here, Rn1 is acting like this, and this is the Ft1, and this is the O1. So here this S and Ft1 will make a sorry 2, isn't it? 2, and this is 2. So S and Ft2 will make a same kind of movement, that is nothing but clockwise bending movement, S into Ft2. Similarly Rn will make a anti-clockwise bend, Rn2 will make a anti-clockwise movement. It is not R1 N1, it is Rn2. Okay. So on taking movement about O2, so you have these two term, S into 450, Ft2 into this distance of Ft2 with respect to O, and on the right hand side you have Rn2 into 200. So on solving this, you have Ft2 as 1.454 S. Okay. So here you have S as a common thing. So on equating say equation 1 and 2. Okay. So in terms of S, so you have the S as the this thing. Okay. Or Ft2 as the, you may find this thing as well. Okay. Okay. So now S is 3587, and width of the brake shoes are found using this relation. Okay. So here let us have B as the width of the brake shoe in mm, and the projected bearing area for one shoe will be this much. So here it is B into B is width into 2r sine theta, that is sector. So you have a circle, and this is only the projected area. So this is theta. Okay, so this sector can be uh, uh, obtained by this relation 2 r sine theta. Okay, so here the projected bearing area is this much, and normal force on the right hand side of the shoe is this much, because the what do you call, coefficient of friction into Rn1, that is nothing but frictional force. So frictional force S is mu into Rn. Okay, so for right hand side, it is Rn1, that is Ft1 divided by mu dash. Mu dash is the equivalent coefficient of friction. So Rn1 will be 6186 Newton. And similarly, on the left hand side, so Rn2 is Ft2 by mu dash. So that is equal to 11,590 Newton. Here you may see that the normal force is maximum at the left hand side of the shoe. So therefore we shall find the width of the shoe for maximum normal force, that is for 11,590, not for 6,186. Okay, so for maximum normal force, so the bearing once again this bearing pressure is obtained by simply dividing the normal reaction divided by area, bearing area. Okay, so on solving it, you may find the width of the brake shoe required for transmitting this much of torque, that is nothing but 144.2 mm. Width of the brake shoe is 144.2 mm. So this is the double block brake design. So next brake is the band brake. So you have a simple band brake as well as a differential band brake. So I told you the difference. So in simple band brake, one end of the band is attached on the fulcrum. Okay. So in differential band brake, the two ends are attached at different locations. Okay. So here this is the clockwise rotation of the drum. So in this case, this will be the tight side, this will be the slack side. So in the anti-clockwise direction, this will be the tight side and this will be the slack side. That means here T1 is greater than T2. Similarly, here also T1 is greater than T2. Okay. Now, so in a simple band brake, you have the assemblies like this. So this is the rotating brake drum, and you have a band contacting circumference of the drum, and you have a shaft which is connecting the drum. Okay, so here a common thing is this relation T1 by T2 equal to e power mu theta, and the braking drum on the braking torque on the drum is this obtained by this relation T1 minus T2 into R. Torque is nothing but simply force into radius. So here forces are nothing but difference of T1 and T2, that is nothing but tension on the band 1, tension on the band 2. Okay. So let us have a simple band brake design. So like this, here the problem is shown in the figure. So the simple band brake as shown in the figure is applied to a shaft carrying a flywheel of mass 400 kg. So here the flywheel is not shown, so only the drum is shown. The radius of gyration of the flywheel is 450 mm, and it also runs at a speed of 300 rpm. So if the coefficient of friction is zero point 0.2 and the brake drum diameter is 240 mm, find the torque applied due to a hand load of say 100 Newton. The number of turns of the wheel before it is brought to rest. Okay, so you are applying a band brake by applying 100 Newton. So how much turn it will rotate before stopping? That is what you need to find in the second subdivision, and the time required to bring it to rest from the moment of application of the brake. So once you apply the brake, what time will it take to come to the stopping position? Okay, and as usual you must look for the numerical values. So first one is the 400 kg, so that is nothing but mass of the flywheel, and the radius of gyration is 450, so here it is denoted as a k, and the speed is 300 rpm, and coefficient of friction is zero point 0.2, and diameter of the drum, that is also given, that is nothing but 240 mm. Okay, so zero point 0.2 meter, 0.24 meter, and radius is say 0.12 meter. So first of all, let us find how much torque is generated due to the application of a hand load, say 100 Newton. Okay. So before that, you must find the tensions on the tight and slack sides of the band. Okay. So that is T1 and T2 respectively. So from the geometry of the figure, the angle of lap of the band on the drum may be this much. Okay, so total degree is 360 degree, and the portion where the band and drum are having contact is 150 degree. No, not 150 degree. So let us look at that. Okay, so here, so this is 90 and this is 60. So this portion you have to take day. I think for some time the screen is not shared with you. So let us have this. So this is the next problem, simple band brake problem. So which is shown here, and so the problem is like this. The simple band brake as shown in the figure is applied to a shaft carrying a flywheel of mass 400 kg. The radius of gyration of the flywheel is 450 mm, and the flywheel runs at 300 rpm. So if the coefficient of friction is zero point 0.2, the brake drum diameter is 240 mm. Okay. Find the torque applied due to the hand load of 100 Newton and the number of turns the wheel uh, will make before it is brought to rest, and the time required to bring it to rest from the moment of the application of brake. Okay, so always you look for the numerical thing. So 400 kg is the mass, radius of gyration is 450 mm, that is k, and speed is 300 rpm, and angular speed is obtained so by 2 pi n divided by 60, that you know. So that is nothing but 31.42 radian per second. Okay, and mu is the coefficient of friction, and diameter of the drum is 240 mm, and also the radius is 0.12 meter or 120 mm. uh, okay, so from the relation, what do you call, you may find torque due to hand load. Okay, so first let us find the tensions and the tight and slack side of the band, say T1 and T2 respectively. So from the geometry of the figure, so angle of lap is nothing but the contact length of the contact angle of the band with the drum. Okay, so that is this much. So 210 degree, and in radian it is 3.66 radian. Okay, so and also for this kind of band brake, so you know that the ratio of tensions is 2.3 log of T1 by T2, that is equal to mu theta. So here also theta should be in terms of radians. Okay, so on solving this, first you have the ratios of T1 and T2 as 2.02. Okay, and now you can take a moment about O. Okay, so I'm taking moment about O, so T1 into that distance. Okay, so let us look at that figure. So this is T1, and this is T2, and this is 100. Okay, so here T1 is attached on the fulcrum, so it will become 0. So once you have T2 in 100, okay, T2 into 120, similarly 100 into 300. So that is the moment. So T2 into 120, 100 into 300. So now T2 will be this one. Okay, so T2 equal to 30,000 Newton. Similarly, on substituting the equation 1, the T2, T1 is 520 Newton. So from this you can see that T2 is having larger tension than the T2. So T1. Okay. And now the braking torque is also obtained using this relation. Torque is nothing but force into perpendicular distance. Here perpendicular distance is the radius, and torque is force is T1 minus T2. Tension of the band 1 and band 2. Okay. So here T1 is 520, T2 is 120. Okay. I think there is some mistake here. Okay, and so the braking torque is 32.4 Newton meter. Okay, and this is what you need to find. So in the first subdivision, what is the braking torque required? Braking torque that will be applied while you apply a load of 100 Newton. Say if you want to find the braking torque of another force, so you may just change the 100. So if some strong person is applying the force, so he may apply say 200 newton. So some weaker persons may apply say 50 newton. So depending upon the application of force, so you may apply the braking torque. Okay. And the next thing, what is the number of turns the wheel will make before coming to rest? Okay. So let us have small n as the number of turns of the wheel before it is brought to rest. Okay. So and we know the kinetic energy of rotation, that is nothing but half into I omega square. So I is the mass moment of inertia, omega is the uh, angular velocity of the drum. Okay. So here I may be found using this relation I equal to mk square. M is the mass, k is the radius of gyration. So mass you know, and radius of gyration is also you know, and angular velocity is also known. So on substituting that, the kinetic energy of rotation of the drum may be determined. So that is nothing but 40,000 newton meter, and this energy is used to overcome the work done due to the braking torque. So braking torque is one which is obtained due to the application of force. Okay. So this kinetic energy needs to be uh, obtained to overcome the work done due to the braking torque. So braking torque is nothing but TB. So 4000 Newton meter is the kinetic energy. So TB into 2 pi n. So n is the number of revolution. Okay, revolution per minute. Say. So on substituting there, you may find 196 revolution. It will turn before stopping to the uh, before coming to stopping position. Okay. So that is what the number of turns of the wheel before it is brought to rest. And how much time it will take to bring the wheel to rest is nothing but, that is nothing but revolution. So the speed you know, that is 300 rpm, and from that you can find how much second. So that is nothing but small n by capital N. So small n is the number of revolutions, capital N is the revolution per minute. So in a minute it will make 300 revolution. For a 60 second it will make 300 revolution. So for 20 turns, how much time it will be taking? So that is what you need to find. So that is obtained simply dividing small n by capital N. Small n is the 196.5. Capital N is nothing but speed of the flywheel, that is 300. So the time taken by the wheel to coming to rest is 39.3 second. And this is what your band brake. Okay. So only one thing left is internal expanding brake. I think you have classes up to this weekend. Huh? Wait a minute. I'll take attendance, and afterwards I will post some assignment to you. So you may do that on next class. So we'll complete our syllabus in the next class. Okay. தம்பி ஏதாவது சொல்றதா இருந்தா சாட்ல சொல்லுங்க, எனக்கு வாய்ஸ் கேட்க மாட்டேங்குது. கௌதமன் ஏதோ பேசுற மாதிரி தெரியுது. என்னோட சைடு அந்த இது கம்ப்ளைண்ட் வா, ஸ்பீக்கர் கம்ப்ளைண்ட். Okay, I have taken attendance, so you may leave. I will post an tutorial on your Google Classroom for next hour, so you may do that, and we'll complete our syllabus on the next class. Okay. Okay, you may leave. I have taken attendance.